Thank you. Commissioner Corcoran, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
Absolutely. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First thing on the agenda, we will approve the minutes from June 15th. Nope, June 13th. I saw that look, Holly. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
I will second. Commissioner Painter, you will abstain since
Yes.
you were not here.
Absolutely.
Holly, roll call.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Abstain.
Thank you. And today we're happy to introduce our new hire for Department of Job and Family Services. Susan, you want to introduce yourself?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Susan Walther, and I am the new Director of Job and Family Services in Clermont County. My background is that I've been in child welfare for over 20 years, and most recently at Warren County as the Director of Children's Services there. And I feel very fortunate to be here to serve Clermont County.
We're very fortunate you're here with us.
We are. We welcome you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
So far, so good. 2 days in.
And you're still
Yeah,
here.
still
Yeah,
here.
you see that before?
So,
Well, I hope your internet's up down there, but
yeah, I don't have an email right now, so I don't think it really.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Sure. Susan,
Susan, you take a picture with us?
David's going to do it? Okay. I like this look you get me.
Two or three or four.
I usually take about 10. But
Oh.
The thing is you don't know it. So.
Oh, okay.
And you go in 3, 2, 1. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you.
And also this morning, we have a proclamation designating June 15th as Elder Abuse Awareness Day in Clermont County. And we have a proclamation to read. And with us is Bill DeHaas, Deborah Hines, and Laura Newberry, if you'd like to come up. Thank you for coming. So this proclamation reads, whereas older adults deserve to be treated with respect and dignity to enable them to serve as leaders, mentors, volunteers, and vital participating members of our communities. Whereas in 2006, the International Network for the Prevention of Elder Abuse, in support of the United Nations International Plan of Action, proclaimed a day to recognize the significance of elder abuse as a public health and human rights issue. And whereas the National Center on Elder Abuse and Clermont Senior Services recognize the importance of acting to raise awareness, prevent, and address elder abuse. And whereas ageism and social isolation are major causes of elder abuse in the United States. And whereas preventing abuse of older adults through maintaining and improving social supports like senior services, human services, and transportation will allow everyone to continue to live as independently as possible and contribute to the life and vibrancy of our communities. And whereas where there is justice, there can be no abuse. Therefore, we urge all people to restore justice by honoring older adults and putting an end to abuse. So now, therefore, be it proclaimed that we, the Board of Clermont County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim June 15, 2022 is Elder Abuse Awareness Day in Clermont County, and it is signed by myself, Commissioner David Painter, and Commissioner Claire Corcoran. And thank you for coming today to accept this.
Thank you.
And the podium is yours if you would like to.
Laura and Debbie are our APS investigators. I'm gonna let Debbie say a couple words.
Hi, I'm Debbie Hines. I am an Adult Protective Service investigator and also the leader of our interdisciplinary team for Adult Protective Services, which is called CAPS, which is Community Advocacy and Protection for Seniors. So I just want to give you just a little bit of background in regard to APS. Most of you know what that is, but we are only one of a handful of Adult Protective Service agencies that is located outside of Job and Family Services. So we are located at Clermont Senior Services, and we have 3 full-time investigators that do all of Clermont County, and we have 1 part-time. And I have a student here, Kimberly Witt, who is joining us through August, which has been a big help. Just some facts in regard to the scope of elder abuse in Clermont County. In 2019, there were almost 207,000 residents in Clermont County, and almost 35,000 of those were 60 and over. By 2025, 25% will be over 60 in Clermont County. Veterans number about 13,000 in our county, and quite a few of our referrals for abuse, neglect, and exploitation involve our veterans also. So there is about 1 out of 10 cases of elder abuse that is reported. We know that it is an underreported event or situation, and we try to raise awareness of elder abuse in this county. So we're grateful for days like today where there is a World Elder Abuse Awareness proclamation and events going on through Ohio and around the world, really, of elder abuse. And the I-Team works with like 25 different agencies, and part of what we do is go into the community and raise awareness of elder abuse. Thank you.
I just want to add one thing. Sure. And it's kind of unrelated, but as we venture into the summer and the warmer weather, and today being a perfect example with heat indexes being over 105, make sure you're checking on your elderly family, friends, neighbors, making sure they're okay and they have what they need. They more than ever during these warmer days. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming once again.
Yeah.
You want to do a picture?
Photo.
Yeah, okay.
Kimberly, you can take
We have to do pictures.
I get you to take one for me too.
Of course.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, okay, you're good, Commissioner.
There you go. There you go. We're good.
Do this.
The wide shot.
All right, thank you. Oh, hold on.
Gotta get yours.
All right. Smiling, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Next on the agenda is item D, public participation. Nope. Moving on then to item E, consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call, Holly?
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Moving on to item F, non-consent agenda. Item 2 is a recommendation that the Board of County Commissioners adopt resolution number 063-22, resolving to approve payment to vendors in the revised total amount of $7,169,000 $315.26 as set forth in the BCC approval invoice reports for checks dated June 15, 2022, BCC directed prepaid invoices reports and/or the procurement card transaction report as presented by the county auditor on June 13, 2022, and further authorizing the county auditor to issue warrants for same pursuant to 319.16 of the Ohio Revised Code. And we have a little explanation here today for the amount, right?
It's a very large amount, and three things really account for it, but I'm gonna throw a fourth in there because it's related. The largest of the, just over 3.2 million is ERA funds. They are reallocating. It's being, in a sense, returned to the U.S. Treasury. When COVID hit, Department of Job and Family Services got that grant to help with rental assistance. And this was the first round of it, and it had to be a COVID related, you could get rental help, and that's still available, but we just haven't been able to use all the funds, and we're not the only people, but so the Treasury is taking the money back and reallocating it to people who have more need. So then there's an additional $236,000 if you on the list, that's ERA 2. Now that was the same kind of thing, only it did not have to be COVID related. This was rental assistance within the county, and that is being distributed to citizens. That is not a reallocation. Okay. So that program is still out there as well. So then on top of that, we had 1.4 million that's going to 3 school districts, Batavia, Goshen, and C&E, that has to do with their RID districts that they received, their first settlement of the real estate taxes that goes out to them through the RIDs. And then Barrett Paving is getting 1.1 million, and that is the part of the 2022 road surfacing. So those things together add up to about $6 million of the $7.1 million. So then it gets back to normal day-to-day operations.
Okay.
Who was the pavement contract to? Was it?
Barrett Paving.
Was that?
Okay. Thank you for the explanation. Appreciate it. Any further questions? Okay. We need a motion to approve the
So moved.
A second?
roll call, Holly?
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes. Suki?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I think that was the shortest consent agenda I've seen in a long time. Item 3 is a recommendation of Jeremy Evans, County Engineer, and this is to adopt resolution number 06422, authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $80,000 Miami Trails WES Stormwater Revenue Bond Series 2022. These bonds will be dated July 1st, 2022, bearing interest at a rate not to exceed 4%. We actually determined the rate to be 3.25%. The bonds will mature December 1st, 2033 in concert with the debt schedule in anticipation of collection of revenues that are being charged for the purposes of constructing improvements to Miami Trails WES Stormwater District located in Miami Township, together with other permissible costs under the Uniform Public Securities Law, including financing, legal, and approving legal opinion relative thereto through a certificate award with the Clermont County Treasurer for the purchase thereof as stated therein, and in concert with the bond purchase agreement, and further resolving to authorize Greg Bickford, Assistant County Administrator, to execute the reference certificate of award and the bond purchase agreement pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein, and in concert with resolution numbers 11321 and 11421, which were ratified by the board on June 30th, 2021, which established the district.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 3. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make the motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Holly?
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes. Number 4?
Number 4 is also a recommendation, Jeremy Evans, County Engineer. This is to execute an agreement between the board and Strasser Construction out of Columbus, Ohio. This will be for the 2022 crack seal program in concert with the annual maintenance of county roads in various subdivisions, as described in the attachment, all of which is in conjunction with the Ohio Department of Transportation's purchasing contract with Strasser, which is also included. The estimated cost is not to exceed $140,865.04. The services will be completed this year, and this is all pursuant to the terms and conditions and contingent upon release of the purchase order.
Thank you. Board, you've heard the reading of item number 4. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Holly?
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes. Number 5.
And item 5 is a recommendation to accept the grant and assignment of storm sewer easements granted and assigned to the County of Clermont as it relates to the Miami Trails Stormwater District that was established under Resolution 14415 on September 16, 2015, and authorized payment as compensation for the grant and assignments. These are 3 more easements where there are storm pipes in their properties. They were private easements previously, and with the district establishment up there, we needed those conveyed to the county. They were all donated.
Okay. Board, you've heard the reading of item number 5. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Holly?
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good morning, Lyle.
Morning.
Everybody goes, good morning, Lyle.
Yeah. You have a book today?
Be up here for a few minutes. All right, item number 6 is a recommendation to accept the contract between Clermont County and Rack and Ballore Excavating Company out of Hamilton, Ohio. And this is for project number 6402-60141 relative to the Locust Lake Lift Station and Conveyance Improvements Project located in Batavian Pierce Township as complete as of June 14th, 2021, and to approve the application and certification for payment number 8, which is the final and represents a release of retainage in the principal amount of $68,934 from People's Bank, plus all accrued interest earned thereon relative thereto and payable in the form of 3 separate checks as outlined on the agenda. So we'll be issuing joint checks between them and their subcontractors for 2 of the checks.
Okay, Board, you've heard the reading of item number 6. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Holly?
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes. Number 7.
Item 7 is a recommendation to adopt resolution number 065-22 resolving to convert the performance and maintenance bond in the amount listed below for the construction of a water main extension and related improvements within the following subdivision located in Miami Township from the performance bond phase to the maintenance bond phase, effective as of the date of conversion. And this is for the Parkview Condominium, Section 1 in Miami Township.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 7. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Holly?
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
Item
Num-
8.
That's
Item-
okay.
Item 8 is a recommendation to award the bid for project number 6402-62009 relative to the collection system rehabilitation, Locust Lake, Bethel, and State Route 132 areas project located within the village of Bethel, Pierce Township, and Stone Lake Township pursuant to the plans and specifications to Performance Pipelining Incorporated out of Ottawa, Illinois, for the sole bid received on April 21st, 2022 at the item prices as outlined therein for a total amount not to exceed $4,209,944.10 and to execute the contract relative thereto pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein and award of bid therefore and contingent upon release of the required purchase order. So the funding from this project, a large portion of it will be using the ARPA funds. So $3 million of the total contract will come from ARPA.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 8. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I have a second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes. Number 9.
Item number 9 is a recommendation to execute a contract for professional services between the Board of County Commissioners of Clermont County and Strand Associates Incorporated out of Cincinnati, Ohio. This is for project number 6402-60144 relative to the wastewater model maintenance project in accordance with the consultant's proposal dated May 19th, 2022 for a total amount not to exceed $50,000 with said services to be provided as needed upon the request of the Clermont County Water Resources Department, effective for a 2-year period upon execution by the Board of County Commissioners, with the option to renew for an additional 2-year period for an additional amount not to exceed $50,000 for pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein and contingent upon release of the purchase order.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 9. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make the motion.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call, Holly?
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Number 10.
Item 10 is a recommendation to authorize Bonnie J. Batchelor, President of the Board of County Commissioners, to execute change order number 1 to the contract with JNT Excavating LLC out of Independence, Kentucky. This is previously ratified by the board on June 23, 2021 for project number 6401-60167 relative to the State Route 132 water main replacement. This is from State Route 48 to 28, project located in Goshen Township, and represents a decrease in the amount of $116,735.29 for a total adjusted contract price to date of $994,366.21, as well as a non-compensable extension of time of 117 calendar days for the completion, with a revised contract completion date of April 15th, 2022 for additions, deletions, and/or modifications thereto as defined therein.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 10. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, Holly?
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Number 11.
Item 11 is a recommendation to execute a contract for professional services between Clermont County and Ohio Valley Environmental Engineering Incorporated, doing business as Environmental Engineering Service out of New Richmond, Ohio. This is for project number 6402-60216 relative to the unsewered areas south of State Route 125 study located in Franklin, Monroe, Ohio, Pierce, Tate, and Washington Townships, in accordance with the consultant's proposal dated May 6, 2022, for a total amount not to exceed $169,100, with said services to be completed within 360 consecutive calendar days upon issuance of a written notice to proceed from the Clermont County Water Resources Department, exclusive of county review time, pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein, and contingent upon the release of the necessary purchase order. And this professional services agreement is proposed to be funded 100% using the ARPA funds. And obviously, this is the study of that area of the county, the southern portions of the county that currently do not have sanitary sewers. We'll incorporate some of the villages, New Richmond, Moscow, and get feedback from them. There'll be stakeholders in this, as well as the townships, for the development of how, it's a planning level document of how we could sewer that portion of the county.
Good. Board, you've heard the reading of item number 11. Do I have a motion to approve?
Absolutely, I'll approve that one.
I'll second. Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to make some of the townships very happy, especially Ohio Township has always talked about how they can't develop because of the lack of sewers. Roll call, Holly?
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Number 12.
Item 12 is a recommendation to execute a contract for professional services between the Board of County Commissioners and Hazen and Sawyer out of Cincinnati, Ohio, for project number 6401-60156 relative to the water distribution model maintenance project for the Clermont County Water Resources Department, in accordance with the consultant's proposal dated May 18th, 2022, for a total amount not to exceed $100,000, with said services to be completed on an Sorry, I lost my place. With said services to be provided as needed upon the request of the Clermont County Water Resources Department, effective for a 2-year period upon execution of the Board of County Commissioners, with the option to renew for an additional 2-year period for an additional amount not to exceed $100,000, pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein, and contingent upon the release of the purchase order.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 12. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Holly?
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor.
Yes. Does that conclude the Lyle Bloom Show?
Not quite. Regular fashion. I'll be back.
For another session date for him.
We have to let him rest a little bit here. Any additions to the agenda today? Okay. Pam, you have a presentation. You want to give us an update?
Thank you for inviting me. My name is Pam Haverkoss. I'm the Clermont County Emergency Management Agency Director, and I'm here to talk about the storms that we had on Monday afternoon into Monday evening. So we had some damage throughout the county. A lot of, it was 60 mile an hour to 70 mile an hour winds. So we had lots of power outages, and we've been coordinating exclusively with Duke Energy to restore power, and they've been working very hard to do that. They've actually opened their staging area at the Eastgate Mall, as well as at the Butler County Fairgrounds, so that they could mobilize crews from throughout the region, as well as bringing in crews from North Carolina to support the operation, and they're doing very well. So we topped out on Monday evening with about 16,000, almost 17,000 customers in Clermont County without power. And over the course of yesterday, we're now down to 57 customers that are out of power at the moment, with the expectation that all of the remaining outages will be restored by the end of today. We did open cooling centers. Again, we are under an excessive heat warning, and that continues through today at 8 p.m. But the Weather Service is, warning that we're still going to have very high heat indexes through tomorrow. And then over the weekend, it should cool off. We do have the potential for another round of severe weather tomorrow, and that will bring that colder air in, and so we could have more damaging winds and hail. To assist with residents who maybe did not have air conditioning or did not have a safe place to go to seek shelter from the heat, we did open some cooling centers. Loveland High School opened up, that was on behalf of the Loveland Sims Fire and EMS Department. They opened and remained open overnight. They only had 3 individuals that came in to use their services, and they have since closed, and they don't intend to open today. The Village of Bethel community opened their community center as well, and they had 2 individuals that used their services yesterday. They too do not intend to open today, just due to lack of need. We have been in coordination with the Clermont County Library, and they are gladly offering their facilities for anyone that needs to seek shelter from the heat. And they have 10 library branches strategically located throughout the county, so they're readily available, and they are open today from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and they're open tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. as well. We also received information that the Crossroads Church is open. There was 4 locations in Crossroads, one of which being in Clermont County, which would be the east side location. I haven't been able to verify if that's going to remain open today, but it was open yesterday. And we have been working on damage assessment information, and we had the building department assess 3 structures. We had 2 majors and 1 minor impacted. We did have a 4th structure that was affected, which is a mobile home. So we'll be going out and doing that assessment because the building department doesn't assess mobile home. Again, as I mentioned, we're under an excessive heat warning. So it's really important, as Bill mentioned when he gave his presentation, that we are checking on our friends and neighbors, especially those that are elderly, because they're more likely to be affected and more vulnerable to heat-related illnesses. So again, there's lots of information out there about protecting yourself from heat-related illnesses and injuries, but making sure people are drinking plenty of water and staying hydrated, minimizing their exposure to the heat, reducing strenuous activities to either being in the morning or in the evening when it's a cooler part of the day, wearing lightweight clothing, loose-fitting clothing, and ensuring that we don't leave any pets or children or any animal or human in a closed vehicle. In the past we've had vehicle-related fatalities across the country, so it's just really important that people are very cognizant of that. Again, we continue to coordinate with all of the local municipalities for any other unintended consequence of the event. At this point, we haven't had any requests for additional assistance, but we are available. And even if we have a resident that is not sure how to access resources, they can always call our office, and we will gladly help them navigate the system to find the right social service agency that might be able to help them. So they can go to our website, which is ema.clermontcountyohio.gov. That's all spelled out. Or they can call our office at 513-732-7661. And again, we are always available to help local communities and even individuals should they need assistance to navigate the disaster recovery. We do have information on our website. As I said, if you go to the news tab, we have all the information on the cooling center locations. And then under the recovery tab, there's assistance options for the individuals that might need help recovering from the storm. Hopefully tomorrow, we don't see severe weather, but again, there is the potential for severe weather tomorrow as well. So thank you for your time, and we'll be sending out a final closeout, update to all of our stakeholders later today with this information as well. So
Thank you, Pam. Any
Yeah.
questions for Pam?
Thanks.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you
Appreciate
for the
it.
information.
Are you back, Lyle?
Morning. I have Keith Canio with us this morning. Keith prepared some conceptual designs for tank paintings. We're nearing the mark where we need to start painting a lot of our elevated water storage tanks. We try to paint them every 20 years, so we're making that round now. Also, Chris Rowland is here. He's the assistant sanitary engineer with our construction and engineering division, and they would manage the projects that go out to bid and are painted. So he's here for any input that may be necessary on it. I know you have copies of the presentation. There's multiple different options that we can look at for painting. Heath also, and let me pass both of these out. Keith actually did the design for Butler County as well. So I wanted to pass out a copy of Butler County's tank. It's on I-75 as you head north near the IKEA. So there's been some concern maybe our tank would look too close to there. So I'll provide a copy of it that you would see from the street. And then the second image is from Google Earth, because we have some ideas to paint the top of our tank.
Oh, cool.
So that may be useful for Google Earth or for planes flying over. So I'm going to pass that around if you want to take one of those. And then another document I have is just the tanks that we have coming up in the next 5 years that we'll be painting. How large, the name of the tank, the size of the tank, what style, because we've got multiple styles of tanks, approximate location, and then the year that we're proposing to paint it. So you can pass those around. And without further ado, I'll have Keith come up and kind of walk through his presentation.
Make that full screen.
I don't know.
Should be able to.
Can we do this? There
Yeah,
we go,
there we
look at
go.
that. And I think you just use the button there to kind of pan through. The down button.
Well, thanks, Lyle, for that introduction. Thank you for having me. I know this is a little bit probably different than you're used to, and I'm used to a little smaller of a conference room and us doing some collaboration, but I would love to invite you, to say things along the way if we need to. I, again, have had the privilege of working on Butler County. Prior to that, I've worked in the design and branding industry and packaging industry for about 25 years. I worked in global design agencies along the way, and now I run my own agency as well as collaborate with other design boutiques. So Butler County found me amongst 7 other designers to try to come up with their branding, and it's a little bit different than this project because I was doing the branding or the logo as much as I was doing the tower. So I played this into business cards, pieces, all sorts of different cohesive pieces for the county. So this was a little bit different of a challenge. They brought me, of course, the beautiful brand mark that you guys created in the, I think, early 2000. Is that when it was?
I know it's later than that.
Yeah.
2015,
Probably within
something?
the last 4 or 5 years, yes.
So I know that is pretty fresh. So I wanted to, as a brand designer, pay respect to the designer and the committees that were involved to formulate that where you arrived with that. But I did want to let you know that these have been honed down. I know you commented, man, it's a book, but this this creative process, I just wanted to make sure that we're looking at all different angles. We've pared it down to this, and we'll probably take it even another level down. So this isn't. We're gonna be open for this discussion, but I want to keep it as brief as possible, so I'm going to just continue going on. Again, I don't need to show my background, but I wanted to also let you know that I did some research and just found what you guys had done during this Discover Clermont inspiration. I don't know if any of you were a part of that, but there was some key phrases that I have bolded in this deck that really inspired me about Clermont County. I do live in Butler County, but actually even last week got to experience the wonderful river and kayaking in a tiny house with my kids. This past week I spent in Clermont County, actually, ironically. So we found this beautiful place and really experienced a lot of what is said in this paragraph that they unearthed as being the wonderful parts of living in Clermont County. So these are the tanks that we are going to approach at first, right, Lyle? So these are the 6 tanks. As you can see, there's all different styles, all different sizes, and that is always a challenge when you're trying to make something consistent. So I appreciate them coming to me with the challenge and trying to wrap my mind around it and what we did for Butler County. This was my first option, just right out of the gate. If you remember the logo, there is a stacked version of the type. So Clermont County, Ohio, that you see on the right-hand side there, with the iconography on the left. This is staying, very true to where you have been right out of the gate, not changing anything. Bringing the blue, obviously because of water, out of the CC that encases the hillside in sun, but very, very clean. The line around it is kind of bringing to life the CC, the little strip that you see underneath the belly of the water tower. So again, a very simplistic, one step out from what you guys are familiar with. This was another idea that when I started to thinking about the hills that is in the iconography and the beautiful hills and landscape that's around here, really just bringing that into a hopeful, joyful light. So there would be these hills that would surround the underbelly of the water tower and really start to tell the story that you're telling in the icon. And bring some green to it, which is always connoting freshness and hope. And there would be basically 3 colors of these green hillsides that would surround the underbelly. But as you can tell, the logo's still intact. It's the stack type with Ohio in there, as well as the iconography. This one, again, is telling the story a little further. We think of the sun. The sun, that brings us hope, even from the prayer this morning to what we're dealing with people losing their power yesterday. We really want to bring hope through these things. It's a beacon of hope around the county. And the orange in this design is just an orange flood of color on the top of this water tower, which accentuates the sun that's in the iconography. So very simplistic representation of the icon, but telling the story further on this buck. This is the buckwheat tank, by the way, just so you guys are familiar. This is breaking it apart a little bit and thinking of it in a different way. It's very hard to tell on here. I don't know what your copies look a little bit more, but there is a 2-color wave in there, which starts to tell the water tower story and the water aspect of this. And what you guys have, the river. I love the experience that I had in the kayaks with my kids. and that is accentuating the river, and it's around the whole middle part of the tank. This is looking at the typography lockup a little bit differently. I actually have broken it apart from being the physical logo as is, and have it very clean and simple going around. So it reads Clermont County, Ohio, and then we have the benefit of putting the township right below. So each tower would change with the township and celebrate that specific area. This is another level of telling the story, breaking it up and making it more simplistic with the township underneath. There's something really bright and cheerful about this one, as you can tell, and as I alluded to, hopeful. But from the top, it's not just an orange flood now. Now we've taken the sun, and there's actually rays that are graphically represented on the top, which works well with a circle, right? If you saw it from Google Earth, as Lyle mentioned, or if you see it from a helicopter or an airplane, there'll be many of these water towers around the county, and they'll all be designated by this orange representation of, I call it a sun graphic, a sun top. Again, further telling the story in the iconography in the middle. And then on the underbelly, it is bringing to life the water aspect of it. Again, just being in a simplistic two-color version that would go around, as well as the green band just brings through the color palette. So this starts to get more cheerful. Not that the others weren't, but there's more color to it. It's more bold. And just to let you know, seeing the small pictures on the right help you to see different angles of how this would play out. So Clermont County would be very simple and very readable from any distance. This one, the only change that I just wanted to bring, again, this is those minutia things that designers get caught up in, but there is a green band around the middle. So if you compare from the one before, it's just that there's this green border that brings the color through in that way, instead of putting it around the small circumference of the underbelly there. And then option 7, this is our last option. Just wanted to take it a step further in telling the story and do it through a pictorial representation and extension of the logo that you guys created in 2015. So taking these flowy lines, creating hillsides, having trees, having a river that runs through it. This would be repeated, and as you can see on the lower right small picture, that would take place 4 times. The river would show 4 times around the 360 view of this tower. So when you start to break it down, this is what it looks like. It's always good to look at them all together and start to form your opinions and the ones that you like. Sometimes there's things that you like about one that isn't in another. Again, this isn't solid, but we are going to, I know Lyle does want to come to a consensus about this. So,
Eventually, not today.
Yeah. So, again, this is a process. This is a creative process, and I wanted to show you the full gamut of that. So then when we get into the actual aspects of looking at the variance in the structures, it presents a challenge, right? And do you, I'm a branding expert. I've been doing this for 25 years. We think about consistency, right? Because when a brand is consistent, it is more memorable, it's more impactful, it's more powerful. This is a different kind of thing. As well as we're trying to brand it with the county's logo, we're also trying to just make it look nice and be, because it's around everybody, they're going to pass by it every day, they're going to live with this tank, and you don't want it to be an eyesore. So some things might work on certain tanks, and I'm seeing some things might not work on certain things. So if you look at this just right out of the gate, again, it's the blue simplistic close-in option. I'm doing a little bit of blue around the bands again in both the Miamiville and the Summit and Day Heights tanks. Afton Goshen, because it doesn't have a band, maybe you do a blue underbelly, you know? So you bring that blue saturation that you had from the underbelly of the first tank. The second option here celebrates the hills, but the hills don't exactly work if they're on the underbelly of the Summit, Day, and the Afton Goshen. It doesn't relate as hills. When you have a side, then it relates to hills. This next option, again, is bringing through the orange top. So do you have the orange top on just the buckwheat tank and not on the others? Again, is that necessary to have it consistent, or is it not? This is a little bit more thinking of it from a consistent standpoint of having that blue band, because you do have a middle ground for all tanks. The other thing that's really nice is thinking about those downspouts and actually creating a blue color, a blue flood that alludes to color. I know I saw one in Kentucky that was Maker's Mark, and it actually had bourbon coming from it, which was a really witty thing to do for them. This is another way of, again, showing consistency, the orange top, so that from Google Earth, you're seeing this all around the county again. It has the sun, so it is a hopeful thing. You're seeing this from the plane. You're seeing this from the helicopter. Thinking about it from all angles. On the bottom, you could run this water pattern, 2-color wave pattern, along all the bottoms, and it actually creates a band as opposed to having certain parts of the tank as a band. This one, again, is looking at it, if buckwheat with the green border, if that was by itself, and if the others just were very simple. You know, there isn't necessarily that we have to have these designs across all 4 styles. And then lastly, I just wanted to show this one where the designation of the different panels of the buckwheat tank in the upper left create that nice story, that landscape for that illustration. It's a great place to house that. Also on Miamiville, you have that underbelly of that particular tank. It gets a little bit more complicated when you see rails and you see trusses. It kind of breaks it up. So I'm showing it to you. Again, sometimes you have to see things to either like them or to not like them. So that's why this is so comprehensive for you today. So in the end, this is just showing you how visually and typography the townships would play out. So obviously Williamsburg is our longest character count. So I base it off the size of it as our longest character count, and then everything remains the same. So that's what is with Ohio on the left, and on the right, do we necessarily need Ohio? We are in Ohio. Can we just get rid of Ohio, simplify it, create the readability more powerful from a distance, and just designate it as the township by itself without Ohio? And then on the bottom is just the 3 different colors played out for the township names. You know, again, thinking about readability, thinking about from a distance. And then I just wanted to visualize. I did this with Lyle and a few days ago just to help you visualize it a little bit more of how that would look from the air. Again, very bold, very bright, and different way of looking at a water tower. Oop. And it went out. There was one more slide.
Is it in your handout? Or
Yes. But,
the counties?
yeah, logo on the top. Yeah.
So basically, we were thinking of the idea, okay, should we, or your team was, should we put the actual physical logo on the top? that could, again, from whatever distance, that could be redundant to see it on the side as well as on the top. Could that be too complicated and take away from the simplicity of the design? Plus, you see in the middle, there's all the rails, all the hatches. It's going to get pretty complicated. And so from my opinion, I don't know if the logo itself, but Lyle and I were talking that if you think about the orange top there, what if you circled, right? Circled that area with just the type. So that maybe the type was in white and it went around the hatch instead of interacting with the hatches and the rails.
Just say Clermont County.
It would just say Clermont County in a circle around. So it's, again, it's another visual from the air of what it could be. But the boldness would come through the orange top.
And
and
that
the
was Greg's
consistency.
idea, to put the county name on it.
Yeah.
Which I was,
He
Yeah.
wants the bangles
Don't give
on
him
top.
credit.
Greg didn't think of it. Unless you hate it.
Greg Bickford on top.
But
Greg
with,
Bickford on top?
but with that suggestion that he had, since you don't see the top from the ground, it's never gonna take away from the design of the visual that the tower is actually painted with, because obviously from the ground, you're not gonna see the top, you're only gonna see it from the air.
Yes.
Is there any, and I don't know, great question to ask, is there anything that would be essential that could be put on the top of that tower that would mean something to Clermont County Airport, or would mean something as far as safety of travel distance to an airport, or maybe the actual GPS location on the top of that tower, so that if someone was in distress, they know their exact location, or that. I have no idea. I don't do airplanes, but
Yeah.
I
So
would,
it's functional, you're
yeah,
saying?
I would think that from overhead, that there might be something essential that would be beneficial to somebody that flies, because we're never going to see it. They would, if that gives them some. If you're making a decision about where to divert to, about whether you can get to an airport or not, that may be an essential thing that says, hey, if this tells me how far from the runway I am, I can't make it there. I got to look at another, a 4-lane highway or I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting, I'd
There's
love you to talk.
two thoughts behind it. Number one is to brand the county, right?
Yeah,
Google Earth flies multiple times per year. GIS flies multiple times every year. So you're going to see these towers where they're at, because what do people do now when they look for something? They look at the aerial photograph and they start scanning through to look for something. They're going to see Clermont County. So why don't you take advantage of up above? That's a free marketing tool for you. In
Yep.
addition to, if you are near the airport, you can
www.
put some type of wayfinding on. But I think that we have to start thinking vertically as well, because a lot of people now see the county from up above.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be like a
Good thought on that.
Yeah.
You know,
And then the other thing, I just wanted to ask a question about the Clermont County logo.
Yes.
We're all familiar with that particular logo, but some time ago, there was a huge branding effort, and there's a pin logo that's out.
Yes.
And that pin logo, I guess that's what a computer pin, location logo,
Yeah, absolutely.
has the particular colors in it of all the different organizations that are represented by that color scheme.
But they wanted us to change through CBB. They want us to change our entire logo to that, and we have not done that. Plus, to add to what you're talking about, there was something else, another pin that came out that, didn't we have something else, Place to Grow or something underneath it?
That was the last
Or
one that
Yeah, so,
economic development did.
Commissioner Painter, yeah, we need to look at what the real logo is going to be.
Right.
And none of us adopted that one that they were talking about,
Right.
because when I went to that meeting, we discussed that we had just changed the logo before I came, and they didn't want to go through the expense again of changing everything all over again. So I guess the decision starts, what logo we're going to use.
Right, because that particular logo was eventually paid, the Clermont County Commissioners made a what would you call it, a contribution to the development of that logo. And so I was just wondering, I know we're showing this particular logo, but is that the logo that you want?
That's not good, but
Yeah. I don't know.
Mr. Eigel, do you remember when we were discussing that? They wanted to.
Yeah, well, they had wanted to change that probably 2 or 3 years ago, and we had just gone through our branding process
Right.
like 2 years prior.
And we just had shirts and pins and everything and said we're leaving it the way it is. So I guess we're staying there. I don't know.
Obviously, that's a decision
to
the
your
board would have to
point,
make
in
before we
advertising-
go through this
Yeah.
expense. Right? We wouldn't want to paint our towers with this logo and then change our logo a year later.
Right. Right, and
Yeah.
especially you said you're only gonna paint those towers once about every 20 years.
Yep, about every
you know.
20 years. And we've got
Well-
one tank left. There used to be slogans on some of the tanks. We used to put the right place on them.
Yeah.
There's one tank left. It's the Summit tank out on Old 32 by the Central Joint Fire Station. That's one of our first tanks that we're going to be painting.
Well-
The logos or the slogans tend to fade away sometimes. And,
And you know, it's funny when you see those logos placed. I mean, immediately you see like the first just clean logo, the blue at the top, the blue at the bottom, the white in the center, the logo on it. And for some reason, you know, I take a look at that and I go, if I were picking one out of this catalog, that's it. You know, I mean, but that's why you have to do so many, because everybody's got a different choice.
And-
You bet.
And maybe I'm moving way beyond this at this point, but I always think of cost. What's a different cost, like of painting the top versus and then doing a sunburst? And I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love all the different images. I always go to the cost fact. Well, what's it going to cost me to do this, or cost the county to?
So there's some variations on how big the tank is, because we've got tanks as small. Some of these are 200,000 gallons, and we've got 2 million.
2 million.
On average, around $100,000 just to paint the exterior of the tank. And then I'm estimating about 20% extra when we start to customize it.
And my second question is, what color in the paints, and you would know as the graphic artist here, we have this ugly green mold that seems to, I guess that's what you call it all over Clermont County. Which one is going to be able to show up better when that hits? Because we can't get up there and power wash everything, you know, but that helicopter airplane comes, you know, to clean off the top. Which color is most affected, I guess, by that, like the yellow turning more green and
Paint them green.
there we go.
One thing, we're going to talk to the paint manufacturers to see if there's an inhibitor that they can add to the paint. You do it in your bathrooms. You
Yeah.
paint the bathroom.
Okay.
That there should be something that they can add to the paint for the exterior paint. It's in non-contact with the water, but that would help inhibit.
Great.
But yeah, you could see on the Miamiville tank on the underbelly.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of the most visible tanks.
Yes, it is.
Right on
Right, yeah.
275.
It's right there.
So.
It's interesting you said that, Commissioner Painter, because in our earlier rounds, I did have green introduced. Because I was bringing to life the hills, right? But in our discussions, we were thinking, does the green point to, you know, as far as a flood of green, septic water instead of clean water?
Ooh.
I don't know, but it's interesting. I did entertain that. There is a GE tower on your way 75 towards downtown that they did in this bright green, and you can see it for miles, and I love that idea. But you do have to think of the full spectrum, and there is a lot of opinions that come into this. So I don't think that was not valid for saying that. So.
I mean, just personally, I kind of was leaning towards style 5 or option 5. I ran these all past Mike McNamara with economic development to see if he had any input, and his concern with option 5 was that it too closely resembled the Butler County tank, the underbelly, when you look at the buckwheat tank, which is a similar style. I think Butler County's is a 1 million gallon tank. Ours is 2 million. We've got several. We've got 3 tanks that are the same. It's called a fluted column as the buckwheat tank. Mike he was leaning towards option 7 because it doesn't look like there's no resemblance or less resemblance to the Butler County tank.
So let me ask a little innovative idea.
It's too much.
When we get close to this, why wouldn't it be neat with our PR department to run a, kind of pick your style across Clermont County, and let the citizens of Clermont County kind of, you decide on 5 or whatever that comes down to, and then you publish those 5 and say, here's the vote. Vote for one of the 5, and really make it something interesting across the county with all the residents. What do you like here?
Yeah, well, being in packaging, I've been in very extensive sessions like that, where we actually do internet sessions, or or we're behind the glass and we're seeing what all these different people are picking. It is great. It's a great collaborative decision, especially in what you guys are doing. You're trying to bring the people together. I get that. There will be a lot of cooks in the kitchen, though.
No question.
When you do that. Already, I'm sure all of us have a different favorite right now. First, I actually worked with Mike McNamara on the Butler County tank when he was there. And so I can see what he would say, but me creating this underbelly, I think it's much different. We're talking about water, but I think it's much different from the interactive waves that we created for Butler County. Again, you're talking about the same thing, so sometimes ideas will overlap, but I think visually they are different. But I do like this one as well. So I created all these to create this discussion that we're having even today.
I just think it'd be a lot of fun, to see what the citizens would actually pick. Especially since, let's talk about it, how many water tanks are we talking here?
We've got,
total.
I think we're at
7
20 that we have throughout the county.
Start with.
Yeah,
And so we're talking
quite a few.
total contract price of this whole painting effort, if we go through all 20, is a couple $1 million, right?
Yeah, but it'll be several years before all 20 will be.
Right.
It'll probably take us about 10 years to get them all painted. on that.
And then wasn't there an option provided if you were a township and you wanted your township logo on there, that there was some contribution?
We've never, not that I'm aware of, we've never taken a contribution. We've included, currently we have the township name on all the tanks that we've painted in the past 10 or 15 years.
Okay.
I've had a couple townships over the years reach out to say, hey, can we do that again if you repaint the tank? So I think it'd be something good to
Yeah.
include
Okay.
the
Yeah,
township
great.
name. My opinion, I don't think we need to include Ohio on it.
Yeah.
It's just,
Too
You
much.
should know what
I think you
state
gotta
you're in.
figure that, right?
sure, yeah. if
Maybe
you
for
don't
your
know you're in
airplane, they
Ohio,
need to know what state you're in.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing for billboard design or anything, as you know, when you're driving past a billboard, the more simple you get that message. So as we can simplify things or make them colorful and bold, then our attention gets drawn to them. And I know,
I thought that was just very simple.
yeah, very
Yeah.
simple.
And it could stay consistent throughout all the towers.
Right.
Mhm.
And like if you ever were able to drive past, I don't know if you've ever been to Liberty Township Center over our shopping area there, and people have noticed that. It's very simple. I created the top as a blue gradation, as you see, so that it looks like something that's marking our city, almost like a huge blue pin, right? And all those things cater to celebrating what we do, what you guys do here at Clermont.
In these logos and stuff, are they stenciled on and then sprayed? Is that how that's done?
It's a pounce, it's called. It's like a template of sorts.
Okay.
They did a fantastic job. It was a father and son that did it from out west that I had done that with. And just to see that unfold is just, it's amazing. It's so big. If you saw a picture of me at the base of that tower and seeing it, it's just massive.
You didn't get a chance to ride the Spider up there? And...
I did one time.
Oh.
I don't know if I'd do it again. It was pretty shaky.
I think some of these are just too busy.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you.
Okay.
So maybe
That's good.
if we could narrow down maybe, Commissioner Painter, I know you kind of liked option 1
I do.
without Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
You think stacking the letters and having, or just Clermont County in bigger letters, one
Yep.
one line?
Yep.
The one line with the township?
Okay.
But I just think that when you get to the bottom, and I like that. I like the rolling hills and all that kind of stuff, but that's a
too
lot of
much.
work to do also. When if you're just those what, 5 colors right there. The stencils stay the same. They stay consistent throughout every tank, but that's my.
Is there any that you guys want to?
You like something else on there?
I don't like with the green. I just think it's too much and it's taking away from the name. That's my opinion on it.
And this is in 2 and 3, Commissioner Becker?
2, 3, and I don't like number 7 either.
See, this is what we have. Everyone's got.
And everybody's going to have a different opinion, but I just think when you're too busy, you're taking away from the name that's on the tower.
Well, remember though, the colors that I'm using are the colors in the icon.
Yeah.
So I'm extending that to tell a bigger story or tell a simplistic story.
And the orange on the top, I think that's nice, but for me, I wouldn't want to see that contrasting color if I was looking at it from a distance. You know, I like how the 2 blues match. Obviously, the sky is blue.
The sky is blue and water.
Yeah, that's me.
If a resident had to look at that, I think they'd get tired of looking. I mean, we get enough complaints now with cell towers that somebody
Right.
has to look out their back window and see it, so I think the more simple that we can be, yeah.
But you did an excellent job coming up with those
Thank you.
differences. It's really neat. It really is.
Again, you sometimes have to create something bigger so that we know where we need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have an opinion?
No, you don't want my.
I like your opinion right from the beginning. This
I'm
is
kidding.
Too long. Now you're thinking he talked too long.
No, I agree with the first one that you have up there.
Maybe a
The se-
draft horse painted on there on one side.
Got a few, well, we could, never mind. Oh, no, I'm not going there. Okay. I like your idea of keeping it simple as could be. Also, you have to think the people, this is in their backyards or in their neighborhood,
That's
and
what
they
I'm
have to
saying.
look
They have
at
to
it
look
every
at
day.
it.
You know, do you want to, I understand on a highway or when you're out in public and see it, but if it's in your backyard, do you really want a lot of detail? I like the simplicity of it, and I like hearing the name of each township and identifying where you are without the Ohio. I agree with you on that.
And I also like the idea that Greg had with that of taking advantage of the GIS location and having that, you know, that logo up on the top.
The logo or just Clermont County?
I think Clermont County around those hatches. I think that gets you. I think that gets you an added advertisement that that's going to be more and more used. That makes perfect sense. While you're there doing it, why not?
Yes.
And then give us the cost breakdown and the paint and all that stuff. And
Obviously, the more simple, the
Right.
less it's going to be.
right. Okay.
Great
Thanks.
job.
I hope I
Great.
didn't talk
Thank
too
you.
long.
No, you did a
We
great
appreciate
job.
your input.
Great
Thank you
job.
so much.
So I hope to
Fantastic.
be back July 6th with a kind of a more final version,
Will we be here July 6th?
option 1,
Mm-hmm.
and make some edits to it. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I can accommodate whatever.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we get a
Before-
picture together?
Sure.
If you want a picture, absolutely.
Come on up.
I don't know what constitutes a great picture.
No, it's good. Come on.
Yeah, Lyle's got to be.
Oh, no.
Chris, you can
Oh,
come.
no, I haven't said a word yet.
Anybody else want to get the picture?
I don't think I've been up here for
Here, take a picture.
You haven't been up here?
I saw the word painter, and I was like, well, should I go in between you? Is that good?
Okay, wait a minute. What about purple? Get up here. Oh, yeah.
He thought he was out of this.
Greg should be up there too because he's got a whole.
Greg had the idea.
Oh, yeah, Greg, you cannot bring the picture down, no way.
You don't get up here now, we're putting the Bengals logo on it. Whoa.
Alright, and we'll go in 3, 2, 1. Alright,
Wide view.
well, you have options.
Thank you.
Keith wants, this is your.
The other one. Alright, in 3, 2, 1, and keep smiling. Perfect, thank you.
Thank you so much. Very nice meeting you. Very nice meeting you.
Thank you, Lyle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice job, sir. Sure we'll be talking in your future.
Okay.
That www.clermontcounty on the top.
Yeah.
Fly over. Oh,
There it
Yeah,
is.
there you go. Okay, any other staff or elected official discussions this morning?
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes.
I can't compete with that presentation, but on Wednesday, June 29th, the Clermont Chamber of Commerce has an event that runs from 8 a.m. to 9:30 that morning. And if it was something that the board would like to attend, I didn't know if the board would like to have discussion regarding potentially moving session back a little bit that day, or what might work best for everyone.
which event is that, Holly?
That is the Board of Advisors meeting that's also going to include the Ohio Department of Transportation presentation, the Clermont County Department of Community Economic Development Department referring to transportation projects affecting the county.
Good.
And what date was that?
That's June 29th.
How far would we need to move it back?
That's really your discretion. It begins at 8 a.m. and ends at 9:30 a.m. Session is scheduled currently to start at 10 a.m. that day. So it's your discretion how you'd like
Can
to.
we move it to 10:30? That should give us enough time, shouldn't it? Or do you want to do 11?
Let's do 11.
11 a.m.
Yeah.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thanks, Holly.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Members' comments?
As you know, I've been attending the NARC conference, which is the National Association of Regional Councils, and just to kind of bring you up to date, you know, there is a ton of planning going on across Ohio and really across the United States. I mean, all kinds of different methods of mobility are being discussed. You know, different places like Miami are considering high-speed rail, transit modes, EV. You know, there are many, many changes coming across this country with this infrastructure money that is going to, you know, impact your mobility for positively, I believe. So that's a really neat thing. So be lots of updates on that from different agencies. I know you get a lot of stuff on email, but it's kind of neat to see that.
Anything else?
Just a great picture of NACO, of going to Willowville School with the children. That was a great event, and just appreciate everybody getting out in the community, and hats off to all the departments who helped out with this heat wave. I was fascinated to see that Loveland Sims actually opened up Loveland School, but allowed you to bring your dog with you on a leash, as long as it was on a leash, which a lot of elder people have their animals, but they don't want to leave them, and I thought that was great. But hats off to Crossroads and the library and everyone who helped out, because this was a terrible, terrible storm. And I hope we don't head into that on Thursday again. But Pam, thank you for keeping the communication going with everyone.
And Pam, I saw on the news this morning, next week, we're going to go right back into the heat again, so.
Can't wait.
Welcome summer.
You bet.
Anything else? Okay, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Painter?
Yes.
Commissioner Corcoran?
Yes.
Commissioner Batchelor?
Yes, thank you.